Hey, welcome with Motion with Nas. I really hope you've been enjoying my content so far. And today's video, we're actually going to be doing something really a little bit different from what we've been doing. I went for a design conference, and one of the feedback I got from you guys was to show more of my process. So I'm actually going to be showing you the last loop, my personal project called Loop Untitled. That's the title of the loop. I'm actually going to be showing the project breakdown, and I'm going to show you how I get to choose my music down to the illustrations, how I get to develop the illustration in Illustrator itself, and then I develop the storyboard and down to the animation itself. So it's actually going to be very long, so I'm actually breaking it into two parts. This is the first part. So if you are yet to subscribe, make sure you do subscribe so that you can get real-time notification from me when I drop the second video. Of course, you have to click on the bell notification icon so that you can get that notification as well. And of course, if you do like this video, if you want me to do more of this video, make sure you do like it and drop a comment in the section, and I'll be happy to see you do that. Lastly, the project file for this loop is going to be available, but at a small cost, just for you to is an opportunity for you to support me in what I'm doing, right? So as little as $3, you can get the project file of this in the description. So if you really like what I do and you really want to support me, you really want me to do more of this, I think it's good for you to get the project file for as low as $3. You can get that, and then you will not just be supporting me, you'll be able to look through everything that I did and just see all the layers, see all the effects, and then learn more from that. All right, thank you so much. So let's go. Alright guys, so I'm actually going to start with the illustration for this particular loop. This is where I created the storyboard and all. I didn't really do some sketch and all of that because normally I do treatment, and don't worry, in the next video breakdown, I'm actually going to show you my own full process, and I believe you can learn from that. But for this one, I just jumped straight to Adobe Illustrator to create some abstract shapes and then get on with it. So as you can see here, this is the first scene, and I was actually looking for, I titled this communication at first, but as time goes on, I struggle with, trying to come up with really good ideas. Sometimes this happens. So as you can see, some of the reference that I had was lips, communication. That's why from the beginning you can see that mouth thing opening up. Then I got this from colors.co, right? I hope I got that right, and I believe most of us know that. And yet, so these are some of the concepts I came up with, the idea of mics and all of that. But actually some frames didn't make it because I really didn't like some frames at the end of the day. So I actually had to change it. Like this didn't make it, this didn't make it, this didn't make it, and some frames that are not really here. So I'm going to show you the storyboard when I jump into After Effects, and then you guys will have better understanding of what I did. Let me quickly show you on how I get to work with sound, because sound is actually very key to these loops that I produce. And one thing I actually got from this particular loop was people really love the sound, and they want to know where I normally get the sound for my loops. And yeah, it is. So I normally use Envato element. They are not sponsoring this video in any way, but this is what I normally use. And Envato, we are looking at this, maybe this is an opportunity to sponsor this channel, right? I'm talking about you guys, but really they actually have really good stuff. And I think one of the challenges is how to search for this particular kinds of sound. So let me quickly show you some keywords that you can use. So you can try to look for tech, anything that has to do with technology works fine. You can combine it with futuristic, right? And if I just click on this, okay, I have to go to the music. Then let me just type that again, tech, futuristic, right? So you can actually type futuristic on its own, you can type tech. Those two key terms or keywords actually do work fine. So if I play this, for instance, so you can see, so these are really cool stuff. So let me quickly go over to the ones that I've saved from the past, and then see how you can actually make use of some. So let me see this. Okay, let me drag this here. Right, if you guys can see my screen. So this is one of those ones that I've actually bookmarked, right? And one thing I noticed was if you find a really good sound, like this is really good. So if you have found a really good sound, all you need to do is just check the other suggested one. They are most likely really good. So this is how I get my sound. I really hope you learn something from this. All right, so before we jump straight into After Effects, I'd just like to let you know that before this process, I would have taken the sound into Premiere Pro and cut it to the beats that I want and bring it into After Effects for me to animate. So I just want to let you know because I might not be able to show you that because of time. So let's go straight to After Effects. Right, so like I said, I'm going to show you the storyboard. So here is the animation, but then I'm just going to come down here where I have the storyboard. So this is storyboard right here. So if I solo this, right, so you can see this is what I created to be the storyboard. So let me open this up in its own composition. So this is actually the storyboard, right? And I actually use these markers by looking at the beats, listening to the beat rather, and then putting all those markers where I need the major transition. So that's how I get to create these markers. And if you want to use markers, let me tell you something that I found out really late in my career, that you can actually use marker using this thing over here. So if I put this thing, if I put my time indicator here, I can set a marker by using this, right? Just by clicking this and use this. I never thought that was, I actually stumbled on this, nobody showed me. So just in case, that's how you use marker in After Effects if you don't know. So let me just delete all of this. Some frames didn't make it like I told you before. So, and I'll go back. So what I normally do is with the storyboard, I just make sure I stack my layers from Adobe Illustrator to fit into that. So you can see that I actually have the same markers here as well. All right, let me just uncheck this. I'm no more using the storyboard now that I have the main thing here, right? So from the first scene, you can notice that it's like in mouth opening, right? Mouth opening, and I have some layers here. This is actually very simple to create. Let me just check this, solo this. So you can see this animation is actually like a part animation because it has this mouth hole. So I just do the part animation to just make it open wider. Basically, that's practically what I did. And as you can see here, it's just opening wider. If I uncheck this, right, or probably let me just solo quite a number of them here, right? You can see that they're actually the same animation, but I just stack them in a way that one is revealing while the other one reveals later. I offset them rather. So, and one other thing was I activated this 3D function for them, for the layers, so that I can use my camera. So my camera can actually pan through, because I actually have this position animation on the Z axis, right? So it's actually going through, as you can see. So that's practically what I did. And you might be wondering how I get to achieve this grain texture thing, right? I actually use a script for this, and this script is actually amazing and it's free. Check the link in the description for it so that you can have access to it if you are interested. So let me quickly see if I can quickly show you how that works. So let me just open a new composition. I'll name this test 2. I already have one test already, so I'm just going to click OK, and I'll just let me draw a circle, and I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to make sure it's centralized using my align tool here. We have 3 different kind of options. We have noise shading, flat shading, and 3D, right? So I can click on this and just click on the noise shading, and with one click, see the kind of result that you can achieve. Quite cool, honestly. It's really cool, right? And there are so many things here to tweak, but don't worry, it's actually quite easy, right? You can see from here down, you don't need to touch it. All the controls you need to tweak are all in this first option. So you can change the color, for instance, let's say to dark blue, something like this, right? You can increase the noise size, you can increase or decrease it. You can increase the offset, the edge offset. So I'm just going to undo that. You can change the shader type from edge to linear, so something similar that you will see, and this is the undo, something similar you see in using gradient ramp. Or you can also change it to radial, right? And then you can actually achieve quite a lot with this. So I would advise you check this out. I may not be able to show you the full properties of this right now, but check this out. It's really cool. That's what I use. So let me quickly see if I can just show you the other option. So if I select this and I can check this flat shading, and with this you just have your highlight, right? Really cool stuff. So I'm not going to do so much on this, right? But that's how I get to achieve those green look in the animation, right? Yeah, you can see that I have some highlight, and if I toggle switches and mode right here, so there are some parts that I actually had to, you know, like the highlight you can see here, I actually have to duplicate and then change the blend mode to achieve the same kind of look, right? So that's how I get to achieve this in the very first frame. Okay, so let's move to the second frame now. All right, so straight to the second scene now. All right, so if I move my time indicator, you can see that right from this is revealing what is underneath, and that's why you can see the layer responsible for that under here, which is a Cinema 4D file. So one thing I've told myself was, if there's anything that has to do with 3D, I am not going to stress myself to stack shapes, you know, do 3D camera and do all of that in After Effects, because that can be really stressful, right? You might have contrary opinion to that, but that's me. But anything that has to do with 3D, even if it's cube, I rather do it in Cinema 4D, or I use Element 3D and then do my magic there. All right, so basically I did the second scene in Cinema 4D, because when I created it in Illustrator, it was looking more like a cylinder, and now even though I did it in a flat way, right, I said I'm not going to stress myself to animate 2D cylinder, right? So basically I did this in Cinema 4D, and let me show you how I get to achieve that quickly. So this is Cinema 4D, and if I play this right now, this is what I have. I think there's one that is missing here. I'm coming. Yeah, this. All right, so if I play this now, this is what I have, right? Crazy stuff, right? So I'll just deactivate all these effectors for now, right? Let me leave the very first set. You will notice I have random plane push apart, and I also have random plane push apart for all the cloners that I created. By the way, I'm not the pro in Cinema 4D, maybe not yet, right? So the probably easier, faster way of getting this done. If you do know, please let me know. I'll be happy to hear you out. Okay, so yes, so I'm going to deactivate all of this, and I'm also going to do the same for this rest of the cloners, because I believe by isolating them this way, you would understand what I did. So I'm actually doing this by holding out Alt and my left click mouse. Yeah, so now I'm just left alone with the yellow. So right, you can see it's not making so much sense, right? So let me open this up. So this is how I get to achieve the modeling. I'm not going to dive into the modeling, that might take so much time, but basically I created a cylinder. I used a little bit of squash and stretch, deformer and jiggle with it, and I put all of that into a cloner. And in the cloner I have 3 counts, so that's why there are 3 cylinders here. And how I get to achieve the look, let me quickly show you that. So basically, if I go to the I believe the polygon, there's a word for it, but if I click on this option and I click on this, so let me deactivate the cloner a little bit first. All right, so let me just uncheck this. Hold on, not this, uncheck this. All right, see, great. So this is what I did. Let me uncheck the camera. Right, so by zooming, so practically I just select the sides like this, and I created a material specific for this because that's supposed to be darker, and the sides are supposed to be a totally different color. So if I open up the material, if I double click this, so how I get to achieve the flat look is to just use luminance and then just change the color. Don't use any other thing, and then you achieve your flat look in After Effects. And then for the darker side, I just change the color as well, and that's practically what I did for everything there. So let me just uncheck this. Yes, uncheck the cloner as well, and then go back to the camera. And then practically what I did was just add the random effectors and did some rotation if I check the parameter, I can see that the rotation are actually animated. Then I added plane, and I think I just used that to adjust, and I added push over so that they could, there'll be more space in between them, so they don't have to collide. So that's what that is used for. So basically what I did was I just did this and I duplicated, and I changed the colors, and also have their own effectors. And on the null here, I actually have a rotation animation at this point. So if I have to show you the the curves, the animation parts, right, you can see this is what I have. Really strong ease that I use here, and also for the rotation as well. So let me just quickly show you. So these are my curves basically, right? I feel like I'm taking so much time here, so we need to move on. And yes, that's how I get to achieve this. And if you also notice that I duplicated it and I changed this to color burn, right, so that I can use my shader as well on it. That's why it's giving this grain as well. And moving on to the next one, so if I scroll this and then this, so practically what I did, so I made sure that the last rotation from the Cinema 4D file that I applied to those cones or cylinders, right, was at the fastest at the end, right? And I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a bit. And then I made sure as well that the next scene coming into it, the animation of the rotation matches, and also make sure the beginning was also at the fastest, right? So let me quickly show you what I mean. So let me quickly show you. So I think I created a null for all these things around. Sorry, my layers are not named. It's actually quite a lot, but I categorize them in a way that I can recognize it, and I think that's like the most important thing, right? So I actually have two nulls here, so I want to make sure which null is responsible. So I think this is the one that is responsible. Let me see this. Okay, I believe this is the one that is responsible for the rotation. So I have all these elements that are being rotated all at the same time. So I'll highlight this, go to my graph editor. So as you can see that this is at its fastest, right? And you can see that this just come down, right? So let me play this for you so that you guys can see what I mean. So from here, right, if I play this now, right, that's why it seems a little bit smooth. It's just simple, match cut thing going on there. And basically I just make sure that all these elements here are tied to just one null here, which is the main control here. And I was able to also give some subtle position animation to this, right? And let me just highlight all of this and just click on you, right? So these are like position animation, subtle position animation, and practically that's how I get to achieve all of this, right? Which is really cool. And some scale, distorting scale, and all of that. And then I'll move on to the next thing. And then this is my hero element here, right? If you notice, my hero element should be in another color here. Yeah, I think it was in a green color at first. Let me see. Yeah, so these two are actually in the green color. So this is my hero element. So let me change that to yellow, so it's very easy for me to recognize that. So I just have this position. So let me press U. So basically let me show you the graph editor so that you guys can see what I did here. So basically just move from this fastest to, when it's going up, it's going to decelerate, and then it's going to come down really fast. And then I really did a really simple match cut with the next scene, which is with this, right? It's not even perfect, but it works, right? So I just match it with that, and this comes in, right? And I think this is the background. Yeah, this is the hero element. Then this is the line, the trim part line, right? I just did simple trim parts to review that line. And then I have this thing. So let me solo this, right? So I just animated the path of this going up. So it's just the path. So let me tell you guys one trick, right? It's very important you know how to use how to animate your path, because a whole lot of cool animation comes from animating path, right? You can simply just do a simple frame by frame animation with path. So if you are looking to upscale your skill in animation, I think animating path is really important, because that will give you so much freedom to animate a whole lot of stuff. So that's it for that. So that's practically what I did here. I can as well just do simple scale, but that might not be enough for me. So I had to Google I had to do this style, and then now these are all the lines here, right? And simple trim path animation, put them in a null because I'm still going to rotate the nulls or the lines. So as it's coming down, it's going to be rotating a little bit. It's actually very subtle if you guys notice. So it's bending a little bit this way, and I'll show you my graph editor again so you guys can see. Can you see that it's like this time around it's picking up speed then to the fastest? So at this point, this is going to take over the new scene is going to take over from here. And if I play this now, you can see that just drops, right? And here things really get really interesting here. So this is the next scene here, and just simple rotation and scale. So the lines are actually attached to this main hero element at the center, and then you might be wondering, I get to achieve all this ball bouncing around within those circles, and I actually use a script for that. I think it's a plugin, Newton, amazing plugin as well. So let me just quickly show you how I get to achieve that. So let me uncheck this because I have some layers that are hiding basically. So let me just see one of this, right? So so basically I put them in a pre-comp, right? So if I want to use this in Newton, let me just quickly show you that. So I'm just going to go to my composition, open Newton, and when I do, and this is what I'll see. So normally the way Newton works sometimes is kind of weird, right? So because we actually had a stroke, but it's not recognizing that. What I'll do now, I'll close this, right? I remember vividly when I was working on it, I actually had to redraw the stroke. I think it's because I exported this particular stroke, the outside stroke, from Illustrator straight down to After Effects using Overlord. Probably that's the reason. I really don't know why, but I actually had to redraw my stroke basically, right? And check that, and this is the stroke I'm using now. I'm going to open Newton again, and then this is it. So first thing you need to do is to make sure that this is more precise. So I'm going to go to the mesh. I think something that has to do with mesh precision. Yeah, this is mesh precision. I just have to increase this a little bit, right? So you can see that this is more like it. Let me do 6. This is more like it, right? And by default, if I just play this, they both fall, right? Which is not what I want. I need to change what type of layer is this in Newton. So, and the type, and I'm change this to static. So by changing this to static, if I play this now, this drops, and by default everything is always on dynamic, right? Which is really cool. So what I really need right now is for this to bounce around a little bit. So what I really need to do is to tweak some settings here. So first I'll change the bounce to, let's just increase the bounce to about 1, increase the velocity magnitude to about 2.8, right? Increase the velocity to 1.9, that's velocity direction to 1.9, right? The angular velocity to about 1.5, and let's see what we have now. So if I play this now, you can say that this is bouncing around. So hey, I really hope you do enjoy that. I know that this was really long and we are not even done with it, but let me know if you have been gaining quite a lot from this. If you are new to my channel, make sure you do subscribe, right? And if you enjoy the content, make sure you do like the video as well. That's the only way this can reach out to as much people as possible, and that's the only way you can also your own little way support the channel. And like I said, the project file for this is actually the link in the description, so make sure you do get it. It's for you to learn more, and of course you to support me in what I do, and I really appreciate that as you do that. All right guys, I'll see you guys in the next video.